Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reclamation Project's Reclaiming Your Health. I am your host, your chef, your resident chef, C.C. Péan, and I'm so excited to be here with you this evening. This evening, we are creating something that many of you have probably already cooked. It is a staple when you're transitioning from a meat-based to a plant-based diet. It is very easy to make, takes the place of eggs, but it's something that I feel like there is a lot of room for improvement. A lot of times you go out and you have like a tofu scramble, and it's literally just like the tofu scramble. When you taste it, there's no flavor, and that drives me crazy. So what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to show you how to make a tofu scramble, how to really make sure that its flavor is really in there. So every bite you take, it's seasoned and it tastes delicious. Because if you're going to eat, you want to be able to enjoy it. And like I have said, I cook incredibly delicious food that just so happens to be good for you. So that has been one of my goals, is to how to kick up tofu up a notch. So one of the things, if you did see the recipe that was posted, one of the things that you can do to make your tofu taste better and to make sure that the seasoning really gets in there is to press your tofu. So why do we press our tofu? We press our tofu because when you buy tofu, you open the package, it's sitting in water. It's always sitting in water. It's a very porous plant protein. So that means that it's not only is it sitting in water, it's absorbed a lot of water. So in order to make sure that the flavor really gets in there, you've got to do what? Get rid of the water. So what I like to do, and what I suggest you do, if you go to my overhead shot, you will see that I have a cast iron pot that I have resting on top of a kitchen towel. And if I lift up that kitchen towel, you will see that I have my tofu that I cut in half. You can cut it in half, you can cut it in fourths, whatever. But what you want to do is you want to put a kitchen towel down, put your tofu in between, be sure to cut it. You've got to cut it. If you keep it a big block, it's really not going to work. You want to cut it in half, cover it again with the kitchen towel, and rest something heavy on top of it. In about 30 minutes, what will happen, all the liquid will go into either your paper towel or your kitchen towel. And so from this point, what you would do is you would season it. If you had a marinade, you could, just cut this up further and let it sit in the marinade overnight or for a few hours or even for 30 minutes. And it's going to have a lot of flavor in it. Tonight, we're using this for the scramble, of course, but the reason why I pressed it was because I don't want my scramble to be runny. So I like to press my tofu so that when I crumble it up, there's not a lot of liquid in my eggs. I wasn't somebody who liked runny eggs when I ate eggs, and I do not like runny tofu. So we've done that. I'm just going to put that aside, put this towel aside. And so here is something that I want to share with you about tofu. I grew up in a home with a West Indian mother and a West African father. And honestly, I don't think I ate plain eggs until I was probably about 25, 26 years of age. My mother told me, like when I grew up, we would always have eggs and they would have like tomato in them and mushrooms or spinach or onions, all kinds of things in it. And I never knew that people ate eggs plain until I got much older. And I asked my mother one time, like, why do you put so much stuff in eggs? And she told me when she was growing up, they were poor and they would have 1 or maybe 2 eggs for like 4 people to eat from. So how do you stretch that egg? You add a lot of ingredients to it. And I have gotten so used to it that I like to say that I like my scramble with a whole bunch of stuff in it. So since I do that, I figured why not make it the most nutritious things as possible in there. Hey, Yolande. Yeah. So when I make my scramble, I put everything in it. So if you look at this plate that I have in front of me, if you go to the overhead, I've got some oyster mushrooms that I'm going to chop up in there. I've got 3 different types of pepper, bell peppers. I've got some celery. I've got some red kale. I've got scallions. I've got onion. All of this is going to go into my scramble in addition to some nutritional yeast. We have some kala namak, which we're going to talk about a little more. We have some black pepper and turmeric because you have to use black pepper with your turmeric to activate the curcumin. And we know curcumin is great for our bodies. It's an antioxidant. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's reported to fight cancer. It's great for any kind of inflammation in your body. It's just great for some rheumatoid arthritis, so many things. But when you use turmeric, you need to add a pinch of black pepper to it. The other side, the aesthetic side of turmeric is it gives our scramble a more egg-like appearance. So we've got some salt here and a little bit of oil. Let's talk about this kala namak. Kala namak is an Indian salt. It's also called, I think the translation for kala namak is actually black salt. Why it's pink, I cannot tell you. But kala namak is a salt that if you smell it, it has a sulfur-like smell to it. It's a strong scent that very much resembles and mimics the egg flavor. And so that's why we use this. This can be found at most Indian or international markets. If not, of course, you can always go online and order it. But it's kala namak, K-A-L-A N-A-M-U-K. You can refer to the Reclamation Project's page. They have it spelled there in the recipe so you know exactly what you're looking for. But I promise this will take your tofu scramble to the next level. And while we talk about the tofu scramble, let me tell you, it's not just a breakfast thing. Tofu scramble can be eaten any time of the day. I've eaten it, for brunch, breakfast, dinner. I've put it in a breakfast burrito or a regular burrito. I put it in tacos. I've done all kinds of things with it. It's delicious. So what I'm going to do now, I've got my pan going already, and I'm just going to start cutting things up. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up some celery. And anybody who's been watching me knows that I like to cut things in bite-sized pieces. And why do I do that? So everything will cook evenly. And then also I like to get a bit of every single flavor in every bite. So that's why I do that. I'll drop that in there. So we've got celery. And this that I'm making here, this should feed, I did a full block of tofu. So this should really feed about 4 to 5 people, depending on how healthy their appetites are. And if you're having something along with it, it should feed 4 to 5 people. Okay, so we've got our celery. You're gonna see how easy this is to cook. I'm gonna just break off a few mushrooms. I love to put mushrooms in things because mushrooms to me, they're known as the vegetarian's meat. And so it's just a nice texture to have in there. I'm just gonna coarsely chop these up. Coarsely, but evenly. Okay, that's gonna go in there. I'm doing something a little unorthodox. I'm not going to do the onions first and cut them up and saute them. We're gonna do everything at one time because I really want you to see how easy it is to make this. This is like just a little bit of onion. I'm chopping up, putting it in the bowl. Again, I'm using these 3 different colors because I just want it to be pretty. We want to eat the rainbow. So we're getting beta carotene, we're getting all this delicious nutrition, but also we want it to be appetizing to the eye. Okay, I've got a red. Any questions this evening? I know I'm looking down quite a bit, but I'm gonna start looking up in case there's any questions. The other great thing about a tofu scramble is lava salt the same thing as black salt? I don't think so. I've never heard that term, lava salt. It is quite possible, but I have never heard, that name for it. As I was saying, the other great thing about tofu is it's a great source for protein. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't like tofu, or you're somebody who has, I hear about people from time to time say that they have estrogen issues, and because of that, they shouldn't eat tofu. Well, a great substitute for this would be a chickpea scramble. And a chickpea scramble is very easy to make. Now I'm going to do my kale. A little bit of my kale. So I cut it long. I'm just gonna. That's a great substitute if you don't want to do tofu. So we have everything in here. Yep, just going to do a little bit of my green onion or scallion. All right, and we are ready to go. So what I want you to see is that with this humble dish of tofu scramble, we're going to have all this delicious nutrition in it. Okay, we've got kale, we've got mushrooms, we've got bell peppers, we've got onion. All of that is in here in addition to the tofu that we're going to put in there. So this is warmed up. This is something that you could really just spray this pan with a non-stick spray, and you can use even less oil. I'm going to use, this is maybe half of a tablespoon, because you're really just using the oil to saute the vegetables. So this feels like it's pretty warm. Yep. So literally just throw everything in the pan. I don't like complicated food, so I love this. I love this dish because it's so easy to make. And once this gets going, I'm curious to know how many of you have made dishes that we have demoed on Reclaiming Your Health. We try to do a wide range of things, easy recipes that have items that can be pretty much found anywhere. And this is one of these things. I'm using kale. You could also use spinach. You could use Swiss chard if you wanted to. There's so many different things. You can use any kind of green you want. Depending if you like bitter, you could even use something like dandelion greens. There's so much that you can use with this. Your imagination, you just take wherever your imagination takes you, try it. And if it doesn't work out, then you don't do that again. This is a great dish to wow people with for brunch. Almost every single brunch I prepare, tofu scramble is one of the items on the buffet. And people are always amazed that it tastes the way it does. This is coming along. And the nutritional yeast we add, because the nutritional yeast kind of gives a roundness of flavor. It has somewhat of a cheesy flavor. So it's kind of like you're making cheese eggs, like a cheese egg scramble. Not exactly, but that's kind of what it puts you in the mind of. Now, the other thing about that I've shared with you all, the other great thing about cooking with all of this is you're adding so many different layers of flavor and texture to dish. And remember, I always say that I like to cook like this because then you're going to need less salt. You want to try to avoid using a lot of salt and a lot of oil. There are ways around it. One of them is a nonstick pan. The other is nonstick spray. There's some great ones. I'm not talking about Pam. I'm talking about nonstick avocado spray, avocado oil spray, nonstick coconut oil spray, nonstick olive oil spray. All of those are available. All right, so this is really starting to come together. Now, if you like your vegetables soft, you don't like any texture or any crunch to them, just cook it a little longer. I've shared with you all that I love texture. I don't mind a little crunch, especially in like eggs. I just feel like I don't want to just bite into a mouthful of mush. So I like to have texture in my eggs or my tofu scramble, I'm sorry. All right. So my kale has wilted quite a bit, and to me, that is a sign that it's time for me to add in my tofu. So the tofu again. Oh, awesome. Yolande said she used layers of flavor to cook her lasagna this weekend and it worked very well. It's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do. You just have to be very intentional about what you cook and how you cook and plan it out, and it'll be a home run. So this tofu that I have pressed, it's extra firm tofu. I like to use extra firm tofu because I'm going to crumble this and I don't want it to just turn into a mushy mess. I keep saying mushy. If you like mush, you can go for firm, but I don't like mushiness. So I get extra firm, and let's just watch how this crumbles. So I'm literally just gonna take my hand, go like this, and break that tofu up. Literally just break it up. If you're don't like things all over your hands, you can use gloves. I don't mind, so this is how I do it. Just literally crumble that. Okay. And now that I've done that, you're going to see what I do next. The first thing I do is I sprinkle a little turmeric on top. That's going to give me that antioxidant, anti-inflammatory goodness and the color that's going to fool people and make them think that this is eggs. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of my black pepper, more so to activate that curcumin and the turmeric more than anything else. I'm going to take about 2 teaspoons of that kala namak. I'm going to sprinkle that over it. My nutritional yeast. This is about a 1/4 cup. So I'm using about 1/8 of it, about half of that. And again, add or detract as much as you want. Then this is a little bit of my mushroom salt. I'm saying I'm adding maybe a teaspoon of that. So do you all see now? It's just covered. So now this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to turn this over. I'm going to gently fold this And again, if you like it simpler, if you just want to use like bell peppers, or even if you want to use a vegan sausage, so you can do like, scramble like a sausage and tofu scramble, that's another way to do it. What I tend to do is I make this and I do my sausage separately and I put my sausage on top. The picture that you all saw is how I serve it sometimes. So you all will see this scramble has all come together. This is also delicious with like oven roasted potatoes, nice big piece of avocado, some fresh tomato. It's delicious. Let me grab my bowl. I forgot to grab that. Okay. I also grabbed a piece of avocado. I know there's some of you that don't like avocado. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I know that there are some people out there that don't like avocado. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one. You can turn this off now. So really with the tofu, all you're doing, because you, oh my goodness, because you can eat tofu on its own, you can eat it raw. It doesn't really have to be cooked. All you're really doing is just making sure that this is warmed through. And I just made a big mistake on the floor. So what we're gonna do now is I'm just gonna add, I'm gonna plate it. And like I said, again, you could always do this in a nice flour tortilla or even a corn tortilla. Nice piece of avocado with it. You could do a nice chunky salsa, just simple tomato and scallion, cilantro. I'm just gonna put some avocado on here. Oops. Okay. Just put that right on top. And there is our tofu scramble. Just as simple as that. This is something that can last in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 days. It warms up very easily. You can warm it right back up on the stove. You can microwave it, although I'm not a proponent of microwaving. And it can be eaten cold and it will be just as delicious. That's the other great thing about it. But curious what you all think about this recipe. I want you to try it. Please, why don't you all respond to the Reclamation Project page under the Reclaiming Your Health post and let me know what you think. And also let me know if there, yeah, it's great. Hey, Sheila. Let me know if there's anything in particular you all want me to demo for you. We can learn together. I don't know how to cook everything. So there may be something that you're interested in and I can research it and we can do it together. But thank you for tuning in this week. This is the Tofu Scramble with some delicious sliced avocado across the top. Reclaiming Your Health with C.C. Péan. See you all next week. Bye-bye.